Ding dong YouTube, welcome back to the channel. I'm the Jobless Coder, and today for you, I have a very interesting piece of news out of the crypto/NFT community. The news is of a major security breach within the Solana ecosystem. This security breach resulted in approximately 8,000 wallets being affected and over $20 million that was stolen. So this is a fairly big piece of news within the crypto market, especially Solana, which is primarily used for buying and selling and trading NFTs. It could be potentially the death knell for Solana, because I would imagine that a large number of people who recently just started and had several $100s taken are going to say, to screw with this, I'm not going to do this anymore. Even people that have been trading for maybe a couple years now and had several $1,000s stolen are probably not going to be all that interested in continuing on. I even saw one report on Twitter of an account that had $3 million stolen. Now, luckily, I didn't have any of my accounts compromised, and I'll explain to you exactly what the security breach was and why it is that none of my accounts were compromised myself. But before I begin, I just wanted to say that this video is not meant to be a slight against crypto or NFT trading. It's not meant to, dissuade people from taking interest in it. I do want to point out a lot of the problems that happen in the community, a lot of the hypocrisy that you'll see. Full disclosure, I am a quote-unquote crypto bro. Now, the crypto bros tend to have a fairly bad reputation on the internet for a multitude of different reasons. First and foremost, there are a lot of scammers in this industry. It's just fact. There's scammers everywhere that you have to deal with. The other problem that people take with them is they tend to have a reputation to go on social media platforms like Reddit or Twitter and spam the heck out of people. They'll just go into a random comment thread about something that has nothing to do with crypto and be like, hey, did anybody hear about Bitcoin? And everyone's like, oh, I don't want to hear about it anymore. Now, luckily, I don't do that. I don't go out of my way to insert myself into conversations where I don't belong and randomly bring up Bitcoin and Ethereum for no reason. I will, however, promote them to people and tell them to buy and invest in them. And full disclosure, I keep about 90% of my net worth in various cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, when I say my net worth, I want to be full disclosure here. That's not a lot of money, like at all. I don't have very much. I bet anybody, basically everyone that works for Starbucks or for Subway probably has more money in their savings than I do right now. But I do keep a large majority of the money that I have in crypto, and then the normal person, what they'll do is they'll keep like 99% of it in the bank and maybe invest 1% into crypto. I do the exact opposite, and there's a couple reasons for that. Now, the biggest reason for me, more so than government, which I don't trust at all, I do not trust the banks. And that is because time and time and time again, I have had so many bad run-ins with the bank, just money outright stolen by the bank, all sorts of scandalous behavior that I have to deal with, and I just don't trust it. For me, I would feel more comfortable keeping my money in a pillowcase under my bed. And I know a lot of people are like, don't do that. No, don't do that. It's not good. Because if your house gets broken into, then the money's not insured and then it's gone forever, where at least if it's in the bank, it's like, no. Well, from my perspective, having actually experienced having my money just outright stolen by the bank, time and time again, I have never once experienced someone trying to break into my house. So I would rather take the chance with the potential would-be assailant that would try to burgle my house and steal my money than I would with the bank, who have actually proven a track record of stealing from me before through a multitude of different ways. One of which, the primary reason that I have experienced with the bank is that and this happens a lot, I'll say sign up for some subscription service, and then I'll completely forget about it. It'll be like a year subscription. You pay $100 for something, and then I keep meaning to cancel it, and then I don't even remember when the date was that I renewed, and so I'll be sitting with like $20 in my bank account because I don't have very much money, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, the yearly subscription renews automatically, and it's $100, and then it takes it out of the bank, and then it goes negative, and the bank is like, oh well, we see that your account has gone into the negative now, so in our infinite wisdom, we decided to punish you by giving you a not sufficient funds fee, which tends to be $45. But it gets even worse, because what will happen is the charge will get rejected and be like, oh, there's not enough money. So then whatever company or organization it is that's got the subscription service, in their infinite wisdom, are like, oh, well, it got rejected, so I know what we should do. We should just spam it again and again and again. And if we just keep trying, maybe he'll have money in the account. And then each time, 4, 5, 6 times, every single time that it gets spammed, the bank is like, oh, not sufficient fee, not sufficient fee, not sufficient fee. And they just keep adding up and up and up. So in a matter of a few hours, you can go from having $20 in the bank to negative $300 in the bank, because they just keep charging you each time it gets rejected. And it's ridiculous. And then I have to fight them to try to get them to reverse that. So that's one of the reasons why, as bad as the crypto market is, as many scams as there is, as bad as it is, you know, when it fails and it drops 50% of its value and stuff like that, I would still rather keep my money with crypto than the bank, because I just don't trust banks. Number 2 reason is that I don't trust the government either. I'm living here in Canada, and especially when I saw what took place in February, I even made a video on it. You can go watch it here on my channel. A video about taking all my money out of the bank after our brilliant Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, and equally as stupid Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Chrystia Freeland, decided that it would be a very great idea to ban people from accessing their bank accounts and their money for simply partaking in the trucker protest, or even donating to it or supporting it. And they thought that would be a wonderful idea. Now, I don't know in total how many bank accounts were actually affected. It's probably maybe at most a few hundred. It's probably less than 1,000. And primarily the people that were getting their money stolen from them were the people that were directly on the ground in Ottawa, causing the chaos and pandemonium. You know, people that were directly going to buy gas and fuel and supplies for the truckers and transporting things around, and the people that were giving large amounts of donation in the hundreds of thousands of dollar range to Tamara Lich. Those are the people that probably were the ones that were most affected and had their bank account shut down. But it doesn't matter, because as far as I'm concerned, the government has no right at all to dictate how your money goes. You put it in the bank because you have the faith that when you go to access it from the bank, it'll be available. I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's happening in China right now, but there are massive amounts of protest outside of banks because the Chinese government just took everyone's money and just closed their account. And they just decided one day that, oh yeah, that money that you thought was in the bank that was yours, it's now property of the state. We own it. So sorry, it's not yours anymore. So there you go. So now to this week, what it was that took place on the Solana network. So I started looking into NFTs and investing in them and playing around with them back in March. I've been doing this for a couple months now. It's very time consuming. It takes up almost all your time. I'm trying my best to balance a work schedule with making YouTube videos and investing in NFTs. And so for the last 2 weeks here, I basically haven't touched NFTs at all. Like, I've just been way too busy with everything on my plate, all the programming I'm doing, to bother with NFTs. So last night I just log in to see what's going on and see what any news is happening. And it turns out that everyone seems to have their account compromised. Just randomly money missing, NFTs stolen, it's just money just taken right from the account. And people are freaking out because, number one, this has been going on for like 24 hours and nobody seems to know exactly where it originated. Now, typically they're able to identify, oh yeah, it's because of this website or this scam or this email email link that you clicked, and anybody else that clicked that link is now compromised. But everyone was freaking out because it seemed to be that the only consistency was that people who had a Phantom wallet, which is a Solana NFT wallet, were the ones being compromised, which is pretty much everyone. Every single person in Solana basically has a Phantom wallet. But then there were other people that were saying that they had a Slope wallet and they had also been stolen from. So everyone was like freaking out. Oh my God, where's this originating from? Well, after doing a lot of internet sleuthing and looking through posts on Twitter and a lot of the internet doing their own investigative and detective work, they were able to identify that the problem was originating with Slope. And anybody who created an account with Slope and then later moved that account over to a Phantom wallet. Now, for those who are not familiar with how crypto markets and everything work like that, I'll explain for you right now. There is something known as a crypto wallet, and basically it is the cryptocurrency equivalent of a bank. So you open a new account with the crypto wallet, and you put your money in there, and you can withdraw it, and you can trade it or convert it between different crypto coins. And so it acts as like a de facto bank, except unlike the bank, it's not insured by the government, and unlike the bank, it doesn't have to follow a whole list of regulations, the crypto market being mostly unregulated and run by a bunch of ANCAPs and libertarians who like to say fuck the government and screw the system and burn it all down. And yet it's hilariously ironic that the first and any time somebody gets scammed or they lose money or there's some major thing that crashes the market because of fraudulent behavior in a company like Terra Luna and the whole price goes to zero, the first thing that the crypto bros, who are all anti-government and anti-regulation, love to scream on Twitter is when lawsuit. And no, I did not misspell that. It is actually spelled W-E-N. That is how most people in the crypto market talk. They say when, not when. And it's like, well, you know, who's going to enforce your lawsuit but the government you despise? And that's why I'm libertarian, because I recognize that there is need for some minimalistic amount of government, and I think it should be as minimal as possible. So, because these companies and organizations that work in the crypto space are mostly unregulated and don't have to follow a laundry list of government-issued rules, basically anybody can start a crypto company if they so choose. One person can start a company, 2 people can start a company, very small startups. So I don't know what the size of the team is that works on the Phantom wallet, but you can think of them like banks and various different companies. So like a bank, there's different types of banks. There's TD Bank, Bank of Montreal, Bank of Nova Scotia, and so on. And they're almost all backed by the government. Whereas in the NFT space, you have different crypto wallets. You've got MetaMask, which deals primarily with Ethereum. You've got Phantom Wallet, which deals primarily with Solana, where the compromise took place, and you've also got Slope Wallet, which is also a Solana wallet. And what happens is that just like a bank, you can move your accounts from one wallet to another. You can take your entire bank account and just transfer all your funds to a new bank account. The difference is that when you open a new bank account, they create all new everything for you. New account numbers, you get a new bank card issued to you, new debit card, you get new checkbooks, everything. They just start completely from scratch. You sign new documents with a new bank. And the problem is that with crypto, everything once it's created, the wallet on the blockchain is for life, and its record is stored for life, and that record is accessed using something known as a seed phrase. Now, almost always in computer science and technology and software, if you see the word seed, it's almost always referring to randomness. So just keep that in mind, that if you see seed, it basically just means random. So you get a random seed phrase with your wallet when it's created, and that seed phrase gets transferred over from one wallet to another. And that seed phrase is basically the master password that allows you to log in and view all your accounts and all the money you're holding and transfer it out or withdraw it if you like. So it's of utmost importance that you keep that seed phrase secret. It is utmost importance to your own security that you keep it secret. It's not even recommended to save it on your computer anywhere, not in even a text document. Don't email it to yourself, because if anything gets compromised and somebody gets access to that, they can drain your entire account of money. So this is where the exploit comes. The developers at Slope Wallet, in their infinite wisdom, decided that it would be a wonderful idea that after you create an account using their system, they would take that secret, super secret seed phrase and save it in their database for no reason at all. Like, literally, there is not a single justifiable reason why they would do this, why they need to save your password. So I know that I might not be the smartest person in the computer science industry. I don't have a degree. I went to school for 3 years for this before I dropped out. And in my first year of university, we learned about the basics of computer security and the internet and all that. And it doesn't take a PhD graduate or a rocket scientist to figure out the basic rule of cybersecurity. Rule number 1 is don't save people's passwords in your database. Just don't do it. Rule number 2, and it gets better, if you absolutely do have to save someone's password in your database for whatever reason, then you better be encrypting that password. And this is where I can't even fathom how the thought process went into designing this system that Slope was using. They were taking the seed phrase and just saving it as plain text in the database, just unchanged, the seed phrase exactly as it is, saved in the database, which is the absolute worst possible thing you could ever do. At the very bare minimum amount of security, you could pass it through some kind of hashing algorithm like a SHA key or an MD5 key or any number of, that's the bare minimum amount of security that you can do. This is like a mistake that a first year computer science student would make. So I don't know what kind of ass monkeys they got working for this company or how they even got hired in the first place, but the chances are they didn't even go to school for this, or if they did, they went for 5 months and dropped out themselves. So it's like, I don't get it. Now, luckily for me, I had never heard of this Slope company before, otherwise I could have been compromised. That's exactly why I wasn't compromised, because when I made my NFT wallet, I made it with Phantom to begin with. But anybody that made their wallet with Slope and either still uses Slope or at some point in the past transferred that account from Slope over to Phantom, they've already been compromised, because that seed phrase that gives them access to the account was created with Slope. Slope stores it in their database as plain text. Hackers hack into their database and they get the table of all the keys. And now, even though you're using Phantom now, somebody can just log into your account and pull all the money. So for anybody that does trade NFTs, if you're using Slope, if you have ever in the past used Slope, change everything. Make all new accounts, make all new wallets, make it all brand new, and just don't bother with Slope anymore. This is going to be the death of the company. But it gets even better, because after they finally determined, after almost a full day of this, that that was the key issue for the security compromise, they decided to post the announcement in, of all places, a Google document. Yes, they linked on their Twitter account a random link to a random Google document. And because I guess apparently a company that recently raised $8 million in funding can't even afford a Web 2 website to promote their Web 3 product. And they absolutely got ratioed in the comments, believe me. Everyone was like, I ain't clicking that link. After everything I've seen of this company and the fact that you don't take cybersecurity seriously at all, you don't seem to know anything about even the most basic amount of encryption and stuff like that. I mean, you can use Google encryption or their authenticator program. You can use there's like third-party companies that deal with cybersecurity. It's almost always recommended to do that instead of trying to build your own solution, because the people that build those algorithms, like, they write actual PhD dissertations on cryptography and cipher keys and all that. And so just go with the third party and let them handle the security and everything. Don't try to build your own solutions. And so this company just doesn't seem to understand anything about the basics of how to operate, and of course being ratioed in the comments for linking a random Google document. For all you know, it could just be a link to another phishing website, and they just exploit you again. And the fact that investors gave this company, I don't know what the size is, I think it's a small company, maybe 10 people or so. The fact that investors put $8 million into this, I mean, if I was an investor, I would absolutely be looking to sue them for this. For the people that lost $20 million of their own money, there should be lawsuits. And of course, that brings in the question of to what extent should the government regulate the crypto market? Because the majority of people in the crypto market are there specifically because they've been fucked over so many times by the government regulating the banks, like I told you. And so it's a double-edged sword, right? No regulation means companies like this get to exist and do these horrible malpractices. I mean, it's a massive ethics violation at the very least to be saving people's passwords and not disclosing it. And I don't know, maybe a lawyer needs to look through their fine print of their policy and see if they actually mention it somewhere. Maybe they do. Maybe they actually say, hey, by the way, when you make a wallet with us, we're going to save your password for this, and this reason. And nobody bothered to read the fine print because, of course, nobody does. I mean, you can't even understand it unless you're a lawyer yourself. So maybe a lawyer needs to take a look through some of this stuff and just see what it says. Otherwise, that's about all I had to say on this subject for now. I just wanted to put an update out and let everyone know that that was the reason behind the security compromise and tell you what you need to do. And if you're potentially affected by it, let me know down in the comments. If you got money stolen yourself, that's really bad. That sucks. I hope you can get that back, but I know you probably won't. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.